Hey everyone, this is Mr. Mitchell, and we're going to be practicing solving one-step equations and two-step equations. So previously, last week as well as the beginning of this week, we learned about how to solve different kinds of one-step equations. For example, we might have an equation that looks something like this. Okay. Now we have 2x equals 14. What we learned about is always drawing a dotted line in between both sides of the equation. We also know that 2x means we're really multiplying 2 and x together, and we want to do the opposite. The opposite of multiplying is dividing. We're using this fraction. 2 divided by 2 is going to cancel out, and we're left with just x. 14 divided by 2 equals 7. We want to write it in solution set with our 7 there. The last step that we want to do is check our answer. So we'd write the words check and plug our solution back into the original equation. And we always want to remember to use parentheses around our solution. So 2 parentheses 7 equals 14. 2 times 7 does equal 14. So 14 equals 14, and we are done. So hopefully by now we should all feel pretty comfortable with solving one-step equations. What we're going to look at now is what happens when there are multiple steps to solve an equation. Okay, so let's take a look at this first example. We're going to have the problem 2x plus 4 equals 10. Okay, so notice there's not just one step to solve. You have to take 2 separate steps. We want to do this by taking it one step at a time. Okay, so first things first, we're always going to draw our dotted line through our equal sign. So it tells us that we definitely have 2 parts to our equation. Okay, the next step is now we want to try to get rid of anything that's on the same side as the variable. Okay, so notice we have a plus 4 that's on the same side as the variable and a 2 that's attached to the x. Okay. First thing we want to do, it's kind of like reverse order of operations. Okay, normally we would do multiplication and division first, but any time we're solving an equation, we do adding and subtracting first. So this is a plus 4, so we want to do the opposite of plus 4. The opposite of adding 4 is subtracting 4, and we only do it to each side. Okay, so I wrote minus 4, minus 4. Okay, on this left side, the 4 and the negative 4 cancel out, and we're left with just 2x. On the right side, we have 10 minus 4, and we're left with 6. From here, this is a one-step equation that's really similar to the first example we did together. Okay, 2 times x means we're dividing by 2 on each side, and we're going to get x equals 3. Again, we want to write that in solution set. I'll write it on the side over here. The last step is to check our answer. Okay, so make sure you leave some space on the side. We're going to check. So we're going to plug 3 in wherever we see an x. So 2 parentheses 3 plus 4 has to equal 10. Now we're using our normal order of operations. 2 times 3 is 6. So it's 6 plus 4 equals 10. And 6 plus 4 is 10. We can put a check mark. We got that answer right. So let's take a look at one more example solving a two-step equation. And this is going to be our example number 2. Okay, this time let's make it negative 3x plus 1 equals negative 11. Okay, negative 3x plus 1 equals negative 11. So first thing, we always want to draw our dotted line. And then we want to take reverse order of operations to help us solve. Okay, so we have a negative 3x. We also have a plus 1. So the first thing we want to do is get rid of the addition. So to get rid of plus 1, we subtract 1 from each side. On this left side of the equation, the plus 1 and the negative 1 cancel out and create 0. and we're left with just negative 3x on the left side. On the right side, we have negative 11 minus 1. You could think of it also as negative 11 plus negative 1. This is negative 12. From here, we have one step to solve. We have a negative 3 attached to the x, so we divide each side by negative 3. We have x equals a negative divided by a negative is really a positive 4. We put that in solution set. Again, we want to check our answer at the end of the problem. So we'll leave some space on the side. We're going to plug our solution in anywhere we see a variable. Remember, we always want to use parentheses. Negative 3, parenthesis 4, plus 1 has to equal negative 11. Negative 3 times 4 is negative 12, so negative 12 plus 1 equals negative 11. And negative 12 plus 1 does equal negative 11. And we solved that correctly. So the last example I want to show you is an example slightly different because it doesn't involve multiplication this time. Okay, so this is our example number 3. In this problem, we're going to see it is y over 2 minus 4 equals 8. Okay, so notice we have a fraction in the problem. We've talked before, a fraction really means division. Okay, so again, just as always, the first step is we want to divide our equation into two parts. Okay, and we always do it wherever the equal sign is. Again, we want to do reverse order of operations. Subtraction comes before division. So we have a minus 4, we're going to do plus 4 to each side. Negative 4 and positive 4 are going to cancel out, and we're left with just y over 2 on the left side of the equation. On the right side of the equation, 8 plus 4 is 12. Okay. The second step, we have y over 2. Okay, like we talked about, that's division. The opposite of division, the inverse operation, is multiplication. So if we're dividing by 2, to get rid of it, we want to multiply each side by 2. So this 2 and the division 2 will cancel out. We're left with just y. And y equals whatever 12 times 2 is, which is 24. We'll put that in solution set. Again, our last step is to check. Okay, leaving space on the side of the paper for checking answers. Okay, so we're going to plug in our y, 24, over 2, minus 4, has to equal 8. Okay, 24 divided by 2 is 12. 12 minus 4 has to equal 8. And 12 minus 4 does equal 8. So we got the answer correct. Now what I would like you guys to do is try these 5 examples on your own. And then after you've completed them, I'd like you to check your answers with a partner or a group of people. Thanks for watching. See you guys all on Monday.